In Kanazawa there's a very famous garden. It's one of the 3 main attractions of Japan, called Kenrokuen. And in the garden was a fountain that said it was the first fountain in a Japanese garden, built in 1861, so I wrote a poem to it. The first fountain ever placed in a Japanese garden for my mother. More than half is the sound of it as it splashes on the stone rim. This is the part the thousands of photographs will never reach. Their takers stop to make a freeze and then move on. No chance of hearing the other half clapping its moving shadow in the trees. The shudder when the leaves follow the foam which drops, unmoved, as if thrown by a boy to fall through air, diluting, dissolving into parts. In the same park, Yukitsuri Day is the day in Kanazawa where they tie bamboo struts onto the branches of the fir trees, because the snow is so heavy in winter that they're likely to break, and then the beautiful shapes of the trees will be destroyed. Yukitsuri Day. The bamboo path curves upwards. The maple leaves have just been touched by autumn. My favourite tea house is closed, the house I want to live in forever. Gold scatters on the eaves, the roof, the stone lantern and the doorstep. The carp swim colourlessly in the lake, gaping for food. 8 men in uniform, brown, turquoise, blue, tie ropes around a pole for Yukitsuri Day. In the upper tea house, the hostess talks of snow, expected this year in the 12th month. When she leaves, the room fills with low voices of men at work, birds, wind, the water's sound, and the clinking of the Eiffel Tower ladders, the rustle of ropes of straw. Climbing for my father. Light changes, and the green turns blue, turns purple-grey, and all the land we walked on becomes sea. The mountain is an island, so very like a whale, and we, sprawled on its back, talking past lives of happiness, of pain, all come and gone, chill to the bone, the weather soaking in, until thin plastic becomes just not enough, and we must walk again across the flinty fields of rain. And it snows a lot in Kanazawa. I think I told you this before. You'll guess that from this one, which was written in the flat that I had when I was snowed in once. Up to the hilt. The snow falls like it used to in the olden days, when the samurai would ring to cancel, stuck or fearing to be soaked up to the buttocks in snowdrift, and my carefully sewn together day unravels into threads of futon, unread magazines, banana skins and little jobs. Whatever apology of vegetables remains is snipped into survival soup. Needless activities abound, bouts of coffee, tea drinking, lounging around, slices of television, sword polishing, anything. No one that matters is about, and the only sound, save for an occasional helicopter whir of snowplough, is that of carving cake, shops engaging local warriors in snow removal. And another snowy one, which is pretty true actually, this one. Driving to Noto. Men are better, says Toshi. I know. No, they are not, says I. I also know. And so we argue to the tip of Noto, to Suzu, where the wood huts slump in shock plopped suddenly in frocks of snow, and the sea is whipped to icicles of frenzy. Over a nabe pot of fish and cabbage, Toshi warns me not to call it cabbage, for it is the vastly superior hakusai. Our host asks me my age. Taken aback, I'm older than he thought, more single. He inquires, "Don't you like men?" So I assure him only frequent country moving has prevented me from choosing one of them. The returning road is white, wide as a field. The ditches spread themselves with frosting, and the windscreen blanks out like a blizzard. Toshi scrapes at the iced-up wipers, singing to himself, waving me in. Midwinter hangs in the boughs. The pine trees are bent nearly in two, laden with second helpings. And then briefly, I wanted to read a couple of poems that I'm writing, or maybe three, that I'm writing now about climbing. And I'm going to ask my friend, the poet and novelist Ursula Hurley, to help me read one, because actually half this poem was written by my niece Tess in a postcard to my mother. And I was there when she wrote the postcard, and I was there, bizarrely, when my mother received it, and I nicked her postcard and made it into half the poem, but I can't ask Tess to read it with me because she lives in Sydney, in Australia. So Ursula's going to do it. Climbing postcards, with special thanks to Tess, who wrote one of them.
Today, I went rock climbing
today
with Judy
with a very hard
and her
start,
friend Jeff.
requiring you to pull yourself up by your arms.
Very hard work.
And I couldn't.
I managed
after trying and failing and falling once and
but
test
when we
watching
moved
and
onto the
Jeff
harder
keeping
ones,
on
I found
about
that
leaps of
I
faith.
couldn't
Oh
get
God,
about
I said, there
halfway,
has to be another
because
way.
just as
and
I
shoved
reached
my
the
feet
really
at right
hard bit,
angles to
when
the
you have to
hole,
push
I could
yourself up
step
the
up
wall
to the next
to reach
one
the next
easier like
handhold.
that. And Jeff
I
said,
found my
well
arms
done.
had
And it
turned
was well done
basically
to avoid any
jelly.
leap of faith. Every time we read that one, it's different. Strange somehow. Slithering for Ursula, who's here. She slithers up one of the highest possible walls. That was such a rush. Zooming over dicey holes, jumping in the air past shivers of instability, singing and squeaking to the wobbly top. I'm so excited. Next wall she beetles up. My shoulders are loosening. The music shifts to heavy metal, back arching just where it gets tricky so she can hurtle roofwards, climbing out of stress. I should say that Ursula and I are climbing partners. And growl. Growling. Roaring at the wall to open up the white, the white, the white. I've tried so many times tearing my muscles, but this time the growl works. And I roar up the wall, full-voiced, my alto notes clear, strong as a bell, resonating sharp, sharp, through and through, unstoppable even when my forearms fill with blood and the lactic acid burns. And one last one. Climbing with Ellie, it's the third section of this poem. It's very short, and I'm going to try and do it without looking at the verses. Parallel universe. Me hanging on the rock. Ellie fixing ropes on top. Shining faces creeping close. Same height, different universe. Thank you.